There comes a moment, often in silence and solitude, when a person looks in the mirror and wonders, is it all worth it? It's not always spoken aloud. It's a question whispered beneath the noise of everyday life, beneath failures, heartbreaks, and unrealized dreams. And yet, this quiet moment is one of the most important crossroads of the human journey. Today, I speak to that voice within you, the one that's tired, the one that doubts, the one that has considered giving up not just on a goal, but on yourself. But hear this truth. The soul does not come into the world to surrender. It comes to unfold, evolve, and emerge. Let us explore the 5 truths that will guide us back to ourselves when we feel furthest away. There is a profound misconception that quietly rules over many lives, the belief that we are mere products of what happens to us. That our identities, our possibilities, and our sense of worth are determined entirely by the unpredictable tides of the outer world. A broken home, a failed dream, a betrayal, a dismissal, a moment of shame. These become the bricks that build the prison we think we must live in. But this view ignores a deeper, more sacred truth. While we may not control the raw marble life gives us, we do hold the chisel. Inside every human being is both the unformed block of stone and the silent sculptor, whose hands tremble but persist. The carving is slow, painful, and often invisible to others, sometimes even to ourselves. There are days when we feel like nothing is taking shape, when every strike of the chisel feels like damage instead of design. But to become something greater, the excess must fall away, the unnecessary must be broken off. And this process does not always feel noble. It often feels like failure. Think of the artist asked how he crafted a masterpiece from a cold, lifeless stone. "I saw the angel in the marble," he said, "and carved until I set him free." That is not just art. That is the secret of becoming. Within you lies something astonishing, but it is buried beneath years of noise, other people's opinions, past mistakes, inherited fear, and survival instincts that no longer serve your evolution. The angel within you is not absent. She is simply uncarved. We cannot mistake discomfort for destruction. There is a vast difference between breaking down and breaking open. What feels like falling apart may be the soul's necessary undoing so that something true can emerge. Often, the world will not see this process. They'll see instability, chaos, failure. But transformation is not for their approval. It is for your liberation. A young woman, once dismissed by every voice that mattered, to her spent years running from herself, numbing pain, escaping into distraction, afraid of silence. But one night, in the solitude she had always feared, she sat with her grief. And for the first time, she did not flee. That night, the first crack in the marble appeared. Not a break, but an opening. She began writing, creating, learning. She was never the same again. And she never would have become who she was meant to be if she had quit on herself during her uncarved season. You do not need to be fully formed to be worthy. You do not need to have clarity to have purpose. The unfinished parts of you are not shameful. They are sacred. They are the untouched potential waiting to be met with your own hands. So do not lay down the chisel. Not now. Not when the next strike may be the one that reveals the light you've carried all along. You are not a victim of the stone. You are its sculptor, and you are not done yet. There is a part of ourselves we instinctively avoid, the silent, hidden presence that lingers in our minds when no one else is watching. It speaks in doubt, in fear, in shame. We feel it when we fail, when we're rejected, when our masks fall, and the fragile image we've spent years protecting begins to fracture. This presence is what many call darkness, but in truth, it is our shadow. And though it feels like something we must run from, it is often the very thing we must face. Not because it will destroy us, but because it has something to teach us. The shadow is not evil. It is not weakness. It is the unacknowledged part of our being, shaped by moments too painful, too complex, or too misunderstood for us to accept. Maybe it's the guilt of a decision you regret. Maybe it's a voice from your childhood that told you that you'd never be enough. Maybe it's the deep ache of being unseen, unheard, unloved. But it is not here to hurt you.
It is here to reveal you. We are not made whole by perfection. We are made whole by integration. You cannot love yourself fully by only embracing what is easy to love. True self-acceptance begins when you turn toward what you feared inside yourself, look it in the eye, and say, "I see you."
And I will not abandon you anymore. There was once a woman who dreamed of becoming a writer. She applied for her dream job at a publishing house, and when she was rejected, something inside her collapsed. She spiraled into depression and silence. For years, she believed that moment had ended her path. But in the quiet of her pain, she began writing privately, just to process, just to breathe. She started a blog, anonymous at first, and her raw, honest words began reaching others. That blog became a lifeline, not only for her, but for thousands. The same moment that felt like destruction became the seed of her purpose. The rejection didn't ruin her, it revealed her. Her shadow had something to teach her, and because she listened, she transformed. Pain is not a punishment, it is a portal, a crossing into deeper waters of the soul, where truth lives beneath the surface. When you feel the urge to quit on yourself, ask, what is this moment trying to reveal that I've been too afraid to see? The answer won't always come quickly, and it won't always be easy to hold, but it will be yours, and it will matter. Sometimes what we call a breakdown is not the end. It is the breaking open of a version of you that was never meant to last. The old self must fall away so that the truer self can rise. And your shadow? It doesn't come to block your light. It comes to remind you where it still needs to shine. We live in an age that worships the straight line, the chart that always rises, the plan that unfolds exactly as expected, the success that comes swiftly and without struggle. We are surrounded by numbers, comparisons, and milestones that tell us we must be faster, better, and more visible. In this world, anything that slows down, breaks rhythm, or diverts course is seen as failure. And yet this illusion is perhaps the most dangerous lie we are taught, that true progress must be constant, obvious, and without pause. But the soul does not grow this way. Nothing organic does. Look at the trees, they do not bloom all year. Look at the ocean, it rises and falls, not in defeat, but in rhythm. Even the heart must pause between beats to sustain life. There is wisdom in cycles, wisdom in stillness, and even wisdom in what appears to be retreat. Progress, in its most authentic form, is not a ladder, it is a spiral. You may find yourself revisiting old wounds, struggling with familiar doubts, or repeating patterns you thought you had left behind. That does not mean you are back where you started. It means you are moving deeper. The same issue on a new level. The same lesson with new eyes. There is a story told of a man who tried again and again to invent something the world had never seen. Thomas Edison, whose name is now synonymous with brilliance, faced rejection and failure more than 1,000 times before the light bulb was born. When asked why he didn't quit, he didn't see those attempts as waste. He said, "I have not failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work." He understood what so many forget. Progress includes the not quite, the almost, the unclear. It is not made only of triumph, but of resilience. So when your plans stall, when you feel like you're not moving forward, when others seem miles ahead, breathe. You are not lost. You are simply in a season, a necessary season. Just because the flower hasn't yet broken the soil doesn't mean it isn't growing. Beneath the surface, roots are forming, quietly, steadily, invisibly. You cannot force transformation. You cannot shame yourself into blooming. The flower does not grow faster because you yell at it. It grows because it is nurtured, even when no change is seen. You must offer yourself that same patience, that same grace. There is beauty in becoming slowly. There is strength in the path that winds and twists, because it teaches endurance, humility, and trust. What you are building within you, the quiet, confidence, the deep clarity, these things do not arrive overnight. They take time, and that time is sacred. So if you are not where you hoped to be today, do not despair. You are not behind. You are on the path that is shaping you in ways no straight line ever could. Keep tending. Keep trusting. What looks like delay may be the exact unfolding your soul requires. There is something quietly astonishing about the fact that you are still here. Amid the chaos, the despair, the moments you thought would end you, something within you endured. You may not have come through with grace. You may not have come through untouched, but you came through. And that matters more than any neat narrative ever could. The mind has a strange tendency. It recalls our missteps more vividly than our victories. It replays the failures, amplifies the moments when we fell apart, and mutes the strength it took to rise again. But look back honestly. How many times have you been cracked open by life, through loss, heartbreak, illness, disappointment, and believed in that moment that it was the end? And how many times did you find yourself breathing again anyway? Perhaps not by choice, not with clarity, but because something inside you refused to give up. That thing, whatever it is, deserves reverence. There is a quiet strength in survival, a power not easily seen or measured, but deeply felt. It's the kind of strength that doesn't roar, it whispers, it waits. It holds you up when you can no longer hold yourself. It walks beside you even when you feel completely alone. It is not given by others. It is forged in the private battles of the soul. Think of the Japanese art of kintsugi, the practice of repairing broken pottery with gold. The cracks are not hidden. They are illuminated. They become part of the object's story, making it more beautiful because of its breakage, not in spite of it. This is not a metaphor. It is a truth. The parts of you that have been broken and mended are not signs of damage. They are signs of depth, of lived experience, of courage. You are not made weaker by your scars. You are made more real, more compassionate, more attuned to what truly matters, and perhaps even more capable of helping someone else find the light when they cannot see their own. But that can only happen if you refuse to quit on yourself. You must choose to see your scars not as shameful reminders, but as evidence of what you've overcome. You must honor the fact that you've survived things others may never understand, and that in itself makes you rare, resilient, and worthy of your own belief. There is a child inside you who once dreamed without fear, who believed in the impossible. That child still exists. Maybe bruised, maybe quieter now, but still there. Still hoping you won't turn away from her. Still hoping you'll choose to keep going. So the next time you feel like you can't, remember this. You already have. Again and again. You've survived 100% of your worst days. That is not coincidence. That is the quiet proof of your strength. And it is enough to carry you forward. Scarred, yes, but shining. It is easy to underestimate the weight of your own existence. To look at the vastness of the world, with its billions of lives, and wonder how one single heartbeat could possibly matter. This thought can creep in quietly during moments of fatigue or despair. What difference do I really make? And yet, this question carries within it a misunderstanding of how life unfolds. Because it is often not the grand, obvious acts that change the world, but the seemingly small, courageous choices made by individuals who choose to keep going when no one else is watching. You may feel like just one person. You may feel ordinary, but no one else has your exact story, your precise voice, your way of seeing and giving and loving. There is something within you, some seed of light or depth or wisdom, that does not exist anywhere else in the same form. And the world needs it, even if you do not yet know what it is, even if it still feels like it's buried beneath years of doubt, pain, or hesitation. There is a ripple that begins when even one's soul chooses not to quit. History has shown us this many times. A woman sat down on a bus and refused to move, not with loud words or violence, but with silent defiance. That simple act by Rosa Parks echoed across decades, shaking systems and waking hearts. A writer, unemployed and rejected 12 times, clung to her story when no one else believed in it. Had J.K. Rowling given up after the 11th rejection, a generation of children may never have discovered the magic that lived inside them. These people were not born certain of their greatness. They simply did not walk away from themselves in their hardest hour. But it does not take a movement or a best-selling book to matter. Sometimes your presence alone can be someone's lifeline, a kind word when someone feels invisible, a moment of honesty that gives another permission to speak, a piece of art, a laugh, a gesture of persistence that quietly says, "You're not alone." These things do not make headlines, but they save lives. They stitch the world back together in places where it has torn. You are not isolated. You are a thread in a larger tapestry. And when you pull yourself out, something else becomes undone. Someone else may go without the light you were meant to shine. That is not to burden you. It is to remind you that your existence carries weight, even when it feels fragile. So do not quit on yourself. Not only because you deserve to live fully and feel joy again, but because someone else's healing, someone else's dream, someone else's moment of clarity may be waiting for you to endure just one more day. Your courage could be the spark that lights a path for someone you may never meet. And that is no small thing. That is everything. So if you felt like quitting on yourself, pause, breathe, know this. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not lost. You are learning the map of your soul. You are not weak. You are weathering a storm that will one day become your strength. Never quit on yourself. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. Because you are the fire. You are the sculptor. You are the story still being written, and your best chapter has not yet been lived.